They arrested her at 9 months pregnant, but she knew something they didn't. She was 9 months pregnant, barefoot, and crying on her front lawn, surrounded by flashing red and blue lights. Neighbors peeked out from their curtains. Some pulled out phones. Others shook their heads. To them, she looked like a criminal. To the cops, she was just another name on the warrant. But to one unborn child, she was everything. This is the story of Camille Ortega, a woman who refused to go down quietly, even when the whole system tried to erase her before she gave birth. Camille lived in East Haven, a small suburban neighborhood in upstate New York. She was 26, recently married, and expecting her first child. She worked remotely as a data analyst, kept to herself, and had no criminal history. Her husband, Andre, worked long shifts at the local shipping port. Life was quiet, but not perfect. Behind the silence were secrets she didn't even know she was part of. It was a Thursday morning. Camille had just come downstairs when she heard banging on the door. She thought it was a delivery until she heard the words, "Police, search warrant, step away from the door." She froze. She hadn't done anything. Heart pounding, she opened it, and 5 officers stormed in. They told her she was under arrest for fraud, wire tampering, and obstruction of justice. Camille couldn't breathe, pregnant, alone, confused. She begged to sit down, begged them to explain. One of the officers said, "You should have thought about that before getting involved." She had no idea what he meant. Hours later, in an interrogation room, the truth started to unfold. Or what they thought was the truth. Turns out her name was linked to a $3.2 million cyber fraud case. The servers used in the fraud were traced to an IP address registered under her name. Emails, transfers, and even login attempts were tied to her home network. She said the words every innocent person says. "This has to be a mistake. I didn't do any of this." But the detective wasn't buying it. They said the logs didn't lie. But Camille knew something they didn't. Her husband had been acting strange. Late-night phone calls, password changes, deleted messages, and a locked drawer he always said not to touch. She never wanted to believe the worst. But now, she had no choice. Camille used her one phone call to reach out to her old college roommate, Natalie, a cyber forensics grad student. She didn't call a lawyer. She called someone who could find the real story fast. Natalie got to work. Within hours, she discovered something strange. The network Camille's home used had been spoofed. A second router was set up, one Camille didn't even know existed. A ghost network that ran through a dummy IP masked as her own. In short, Camille was being framed, and someone in her house had set it up. Meanwhile, Camille sat in a jail cell, 8 months, 3 weeks, and 4 days pregnant. Her blood pressure rose dangerously. She was sent to the medical ward. And then, the miracle happened. A young officer, Officer Rains, who'd only been on the job 6 months, overheard her crying and asked what was wrong. She told him everything. Unlike the rest, he listened. He asked for Natalie's number and called her. The department never approved it, but he didn't care. He knew something felt off. Natalie walked him through the spoofing setup, and when Officer Rains went back to Camille's house and checked behind the living room wall panel, he found it. A hidden Wi-Fi hub, running quietly, broadcasting data to an external drive, with Andre Ortega's name all over it. Andre was brought in for questioning. At first, he denied everything, but when they showed him the files Natalie pulled, emails, crypto transfers, burner accounts, he folded. He had been laundering money using Camille's identity. Why? Because no one would ever suspect a pregnant woman on maternity leave. She was his alibi, his shield, his scapegoat, until she exposed him. Camille went into labor 4 days later. Her charges were dropped. She gave birth to a healthy baby boy named Ezra. And she did it surrounded not by cops, but by people who believed her. Andre was held without bail. Camille testified against him holding her newborn in her arms. Her voice trembled, but her resolve was solid. The jury listened as she explained the months of manipulation, the control, and the financial abuse she never saw coming. Natalie presented the technical breakdown, every false login, every hidden network, every secret file. Officer Raines provided testimony that rocked the room. Even the DA admitted they nearly charged the wrong person. Andre's defense tried to claim Camille was involved, but the evidence was clear. He was sentenced to 18 years in federal prison. Camille was cleared of all suspicion and awarded a civil settlement for wrongful arrest and trauma endured while pregnant. The department issued a formal apology. Months later, Camille started speaking at domestic abuse awareness panels. She opened a blog called Motherboard Justice, telling stories of women wrongfully accused or financially controlled. Natalie joined her, creating simple online safety tools for pregnant mothers and stay-at-home women. Officer Raines received an internal commendation and quietly transferred to cybercrime, where he helps women detect signs of digital abuse. Camille became more than a survivor. She became a symbol. In a rare interview with a news outlet, Camille revisited the moment she first grew suspicious, the locked drawer. Inside, after Andre's arrest, police recovered several fake IDs, a journal tracking Bitcoin wallets, a notebook detailing every transfer Camille had supposedly made. The drawer wasn't just a hiding place. It was a blueprint for betrayal. Camille later said, "I thought he was just stressed. Turns out he was building a second life using my name." The case exploded across local and national news. Camille became the face of a deeper issue, digital manipulation in domestic spaces. A major outlet called her the pregnant woman who outsmarted the system that tried to bury her. She was offered book deals, podcast interviews, even a documentary option. But she chose to stay grounded for Ezra. I want him to grow up knowing that his mom fought back and won. If this story moved you, hit like, drop a comment below saying I stand with Camille, and share this video so more voices can be heard. Don't forget to subscribe for more true stories of justice, betrayal, and courage. Sometimes the most dangerous weapon isn't a gun. It's trust. And sometimes justice doesn't wear a badge. It wears a baby bump. Because when the system turned its back, Camille pushed back harder. And in the end, truth was louder than power. If you want more stories like this, watch our next video. The girl they mocked in courtroom until her evidence made the judge cry. Subscribe. Share your thoughts. Because every voice deserves to be heard.